I think it is time for NXT to take over.
Suplex City, bitch.
What's your favorite match?
My favorite match was with Melina and Alicia Fox.
Who?
I told my father I'm gonna set up my own lucha league in America, and I'm gonna make it the best league in the world.
I'm gonna leave him in a pile of blood and urine and vomit.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, the wrestling podcast to review every segment of Raw. That's right, Raw. I'll do it like Mr. Kennedy. Raw. Raw. Just put that in every now and then. It is hosted by myself, Turbo Tony. Used to have my name up on the graphics, not anymore because the show is bigger than us now. It's bigger than us, even though we are the people who make the show, and without us it wouldn't work. But I'm getting into a weird sort of tangent. Bit too much there. But as you guys know, as you've already heard him. You've already heard him already on this podcast. I can't do this on my own. I have to have my wingman with me. And he is a man who is still, at this current moment, hiding his erection over the Fallout 4 reveal over the week. It's Matt Malsander.
I cannot deny or agree with that.
You cannot confirm or deny such a statement that exists. Bar the fact that maybe you're sitting a little bit uncomfortably. Maybe.
It's a bit... Yeah, I'm going to have to, adjust for it.
Well, to be fair, I was kind of the same. So, big gaming news throughout the week with E3 being around. There's tons of stuff. No wrestling game news, but to be honest, I wasn't really caring that much about that anyway. How are you doing this week, Matt?
Yeah, can't complain. So trying to get through this week as quick as possible, really. But yeah, no, good.
Yeah. For those who don't know, if you're leaving messages over the latter part of this week and they're not answered on this episode, it's because we were recording this way earlier in the week than we usually do. So that's the only reason why. But as you guys already know, we will answer them next week in regards to those questions that you leave. We try not to leave anyone behind, and if we do miss them, just say, "Oh, you seem to have missed my question," and leave it again. We will get round to it. We promise you. Take a lot of pride in answering your questions and replying to your comments and stuff like that. So what do we have on our Twitter handle that people could message us with? What's the tag, Matt? What's the Twitter handle?
Tag?
Yeah.
At Talk WrestlePod.
That's hashtag amazeballs. And that's the only time you'll ever hear that said on this show?
Thank God.
Yeah.
Don't use that.
Yeah, I did feel a little bit dirty after saying that the first time, I will admit. So, yeah, like I said, a packed show for you guys this week. We've got the news with unfortunately, some really just weird news and bad news this week, unfortunately. We've got a little bit of fan feedback for you guys there, an interesting question left to us. We have our NXT report card. We'll be talking over two of NXT's not-so-rising stars. In fact, one of them who found their way back onto NXT. You could probably guess who that is already, but we'll leave that until the time. And then we've got a Raw review, and plenty of stuff to talk about with Raw, especially as myself and Matt have voiced our displeasure over the last 2 weeks over the state of the show so far and the way things are going forward. But it's a new, we've got 5 weeks till Battleground, so we've got a while to wait until we got the next set of matches. Plenty of time. Hopefully they can build up something good. And also as well, obviously with Money in the Bank, you may be asking us, well, where's your thoughts on that? Well, if you actually look at the video we did throughout the week, we actually did our own review of Money in the Bank. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. There were a couple of finishes that myself and Matt were banging our heads against the table, wondering just why the hell they did that. So if you want to listen to us bitch and moan like wrestling fans, internet wrestling fans, then go ahead. Yeah. At least our points are valid to a point, and we like to explain them rather than just going, it's all not going our way.
Problem.
Yeah. And that's why I like our fans. Our fans are intellectual a lot. They like to leave questions and leave, some sort of backing to their questions. So, yeah, that's awesome. So without further ado, Matt, we should probably get into the show. We have got plenty to talk about this week, as always. I cannot remember the last time we did a less than 2 hour show.
It's been a while.
I remember when we rebooted, and it was a little bit like, oh wow, we got over an hour. That's great, some great content. And then slowly, as everything started getting on, as we started packing loads of stuff, now it's like less than 2 hours. Wow, that was quite rare.
It was like when we first hit the 2 hour mark, and it was just sort of like, we did 2 hours. Like we must have had loads to talk about. And now it's like, we don't have enough because we can't break 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And often there isn't enough to talk about, but we will break 2 hours regardless, with regards to our bantering back and forth. So without any further procrastination, let's get on to the wrestling news this week. And part of the news is along the fact that Lucha Underground is on the ballot box to receive an Emmy. It could be nominated for outstanding structured, reality show. I think it's put under that sort of bracket. I think also Total Divas is up for something. I'm not sure, for something along those lines. But
I'm sure we'll find out.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people get ahead of themselves. People have said, oh, they've been nominated. They've definitely been nominated. No, they're on the ballot to be nominated. That's kind of the difference. They'll whittle down what is like 30 shows into about 5 shows, and then they'll pick the winner at the event between those 5 shows, if you know what I mean. So there is a chance Lucha Underground may never even, be even recognized, by these people. But, guys, there is a small chance that there's a wrestling fan in there, and we may see we may see Mr. Cueto himself in the crowd, just, with that wicked smile of his, with his, maybe with the crew behind him waiting to receive an Emmy. Who knows? Who knows?
Please?
Yeah.
For me?
Yeah, that's it. And when I brought this up to my wife, Matt, the first thing she said was, well, why is WWE not for an Emmy? And I replied with, because they're not as good as Lucha Underground. And that is
true.
In terms of the actual on-screen product, in terms of quality to time on the screen, Lucha Underground is better than WWE. They pack in, everything they've got into an hour, and it's much more sort of, they built like a kind of a mystical world around Lucha Underground, so it's all good news for them, and they're going to have their big event at the, sometime in August, which will be a 2-hour-long episode. I think it's the season finale, and they're going to be building up to a lot of their big matches. They're going to have World Championship. I think it's Mil Muertes, who is currently up fighting for our match of the year for Grave Consequences. He is going to be wrestling for the Lucha Underground Championship, so that should be pretty decent. And then you've got you've got just the talent there. It's going to be fun, So it's going to be a great show.
We'll look forward to it.
Yeah, myself and Matt. I'm just going to say here now, Matt. I can probably safely say that you and me will be reviewing that on the show, and it will be our first Lucha Underground review, because I think that's the best time to do it.
Well, like the Lucha event.
Yeah, their big event to cap off season 1. So
their season finale.
Yeah, season finale. I think that's a great time.
I think the one thing another reason why WWE may not actually be up for an Emmy, or have ever, if they've ever,
or not recently at least,
yeah, is the fact that they're not seasonal.
Yeah. I mean,
they are the longest running weekly episodic. It's because they are on every week. They're not like they're not filmed. They're not recorded for like a 12-week duration.
Yeah,
and that's it.
And then that's the season. You can't chop and change it. Yeah, I also think it is down to the fact that WWE, unfortunately, spend the majority of their shows, and this does bring the quality down, narrating things that have happened last week. On a show like NXT or Lucha Underground, they've got an hour. They don't have time to tell you what happened last week. They just have to trust their product is good enough that you tuned in. Yeah. Whereas WWE seems to be a little bit less confident on that front. Whenever someone comes out, they just narrate everything that's happened to them in the last couple of weeks, and it is boring. But the writing is poor in the WWE. But I just thought I'd bring this up. This is all great news for Lucha Underground. And like I said, the more edgy and... this one of the things we've always said about TNA, Matt, is that unfortunately they never ended up becoming the true alternative to WWE. Did they not? They never really got there. I mean... At least not recently, shall we say.
Yeah, I mean, originally, probably.
Yeah. But when you look at...
people who jumped ship and just went TNA only.
Yeah. It lost that alternative identity many, many years ago.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at Lucha Underground, and man, it's like apples and oranges. They're completely different, WWE and Lucha Underground.
Have you seen Rey Mysterio is actually potentially going to Lucha.
Yeah, I think it's a great fit.
TNA, yeah.
I think that's a great fit for him. You know, I'd love to see him there. Yeah. As I said, that's an announcement here on the show. We will be reviewing their big season finale, and I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, I mean, come on, they pulled off some great matches and some great storylines as well. So we'll get into that. Into news not as exciting. Apparently, I haven't gone out and searched this because it's diabolical that this even came out, and it saddened me. But unfortunately, I wasn't surprised. TMZ released the recorded phone conversation with Dusty Rhodes' wife onto the 911 call that she was essentially calling up trying to, save her husband's life. You think that's something that's extremely personal. You don't ever want that sort of stuff coming out. I don't even know how they managed to get this, but they did, right? And they released it. And the reason why it came up was because Sean Waltman, who's been kind of like almost a little bit of a social crusader, considering he was defending himself as well last week. Isn't he? Yeah, he came out and just completely, buried TMZ, which is completely right. This is absolutely bottom of the bottom here. It really is.
He quoted Macho Man's dad.
Yes.
Sort of like where money rises, honor dies, or something like that.
It couldn't be more apt. It really could.
It's so true. It's just like, stop being scum.
I'll tell you what, anyone who works there that was involved in this, that had a hand in releasing this out, I'm going to say right here on the show, you're fucking maggots.
Yeah.
There you go. And if you work for their company, you didn't have anything to do with it, I expect you to hand in your resignation tomorrow. And that's a pretty bold statement to make. And TMZ have done stuff like this before. But it's because it's so fresh, and obviously it affects us, and it's very recent. And come on, who gets anything out of this? This is sordid. This is almost the same sort of thing as places revealing footage of someone being attacked or someone being along those lines. It's like, okay, we knew it happened, but there's no reason releasing this stuff out. All it does is hurt people, and it only goes to people that have no sort of. Oh, I don't even want to talk about it too much. It annoys the hell out of me. It really does.
They were idiots, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think the best term is fucking maggots. They really are. All they do is feast on people. That's all they do. And like I said, I don't say this about many people, and I'm not exactly physically intimidating, and I'd probably get my ass kicked anyway, even though these guys are spineless. But if I were to walk in front of these people in the street, and I would know that these are one of these people that deal with this, I would punch them. I would fight them on the street. And I've got a fucking broken leg. I can barely walk around. I'd be happy doing that.
Hey, you got something to hit them with, though. You are constantly armed.
I would shove my cane up their poop hole. I really would. And you know what? I would record it and release it on TMZ. Yeah, that's how you fucking like. Oh man, it's got me so fucking annoyed. But like I said, guys, whenever you look on anything to do with TMZ, these are the type of people that you're looking for. They don't care. They've got no boundaries. Yeah, that's the reason why they're TMZ.
That's it. Are people visiting our website? Good. Yeah,
that's all they care about. Honestly, they would film their own grandmother's deaths if they thought it'd get more clicks. It's ridiculous. It really is. Moving on from that, because man, I don't want to start the podcast. We're at the start of the podcast now. I'm more angry and pent up. Man, I just don't like that. It appears that Bayley has an injured arm. She over the new NXT taping, she had it casted up. And apparently, while they haven't revealed this much recently, WWE have been quite strum on all of their talents' injuries as of late, which is quite odd. But it definitely seems like, from what we can see, that Bayley's not going to be resting for at least a little while. She's going to be out of action, which is a shame, because I always thought that her career at the moment is kind of a little bit stagnant in NXT. She's kind of not doing that much.
I guess, like, currently, what is she doing?
It was feuding with Emma.
She's feuding with Emma, but
yeah, but I mean, I would expect her in the time she's been at NXT to kind of be beyond that by now. It's a little bit of a shame that that she's in this situation, but we hope she obviously gets better. I just hope that the higher ups don't overlook her for too long, because I do think that she is what we said back in our report card is that she is very applicable. She's very applicable. You can. You can, she fills a role and appeals to a demographic WWE current. Because believe me, little girls don't. I hope they don't want to be the divas. I really hope they don't. I tell you, if my daughter came to me and said, "I want to be just like Nikki Bella," I'd probably sit her down and have a conversation about the multitude of reasons why that's completely fucking wrong.
Why would you do this?
Yeah. So. And by the way, my daughter does watch wrestling, and not once has she ever said I want to be like any of the divas. So the only person she says that she wants to be like, funny enough, is Bayley. So there you go.
That's all right.
That's all right.
I'll accept that.
Yeah. Moving on to news that unfortunately just it kind of validates a little bit of what we said last week about a certain Joni Laura. You may know her as Chyna.
Yeah.
Chyna appeared this week at WWE headquarters, which you may think, whoa, Matt, Jesus, she's going to WWE HQ after all the things she said. Maybe they called her in, maybe they're willing to, break bread, and maybe they really want to do work with her.
You know what? Like we've both said some bad things.
Yeah.
No, that's not. Okay.
Yeah. Anyone with half a brain cell, and I said this to Matt, I said instantly, first thing I thought of when he said, "Oh, China's been spotted at WWE HQ," I said, well, they've probably invited her in on the pretense of getting the Hall of Fame induction just so they could subpoena her ass for defamation. And you echoed that sentiment. But what it was, essentially, she walked into WWE HQ, just the lobby, or, wherever she managed to get into.
The picture.
Yeah, and walked out. That's all she did, and it was all to do to fan the flames of this book that she's trying to get kickstarted. And apparently, she's doing videos stating she wants to have a Hall of Fame induction. With all the stuff she's saying and doing, any sane person knows that. Yeah, you may be. I've always said this. Chyna for a career is worthy of a Hall of Fame induction, but with the stuff she's saying, she's just desecrating her case if she had one to begin with.
The fact that she actually needs somebody to form a Kickstarter to get any form of documentary done about her.
Yeah.
It's like guess what? If you hadn't sold a sex tape, you'd have probably had a documentary about you by now.
Yeah, I firmly believe. Look at this on the perfect way, right? Let's say even if her sex tape was released, right? Let me put this in two different ways, right? Hogan had a sex tape. Do you remember? Do you remember that, Matt?
God, yeah, I don't. Just.
But did he? But he didn't sign off to have that released as an actual, celebrity sex tape. It was released on the internet and people could view it, but he never signed off on it being able to be sold in shops, as far as I know. Right? This is just the facts I know. So WWE were more than happy to do work with the guy, and obviously he's Hulk Hogan. I know the comparison doesn't really work, but what I'm saying is that
I think it's a bit more just like two sides of it. It's just sort of like, you're Hogan, you're Chyna.
Yeah. So let me try and do this a different way, right? If let's say I firmly believe this, right? Let me try and state this, right? This is the point I'm trying to get across. If Chyna's sex tape had been released and she didn't okay it to be sold, I think WWE would be much more likely to do business with her. If she hadn't done obviously the porn afterwards, right? Which obviously would have led to. So she had a sex tape out there. It was unfortunate. It got leaked. But she didn't okay it.
Thing is, again, it's like, it's unfortunate it got leaked. She signed it off.
Yeah, but that's the honest truth of it now, because obviously now what she did is that she commercialised it, and she made a second one. She made loads more porn, and that does disqualify her to an extent, right? And I know other people will say, "Oh, it's completely wrong. That's bullshit." Yes, I kind of get what you're saying, but please try and get what we're saying. That from WWE's point of view, I don't want to touch Chyna at all. Yeah, I'm not going to make any jokes of I don't know where she's been, but it kind of is that, right? Yeah, it's like if you were the head of WWE, would you do it? Would you put her in the Hall of Fame? And I know some people go, oh, "Of course I would." No, think about it. Actually, think about it. Would you do it? And a large majority would say, "Wow, that's a big fucking headache for me. How am I supposed to explain that to my PG, investors that have bought into the PG, the sponsors and everything in regards to this, that we're going along with this?" It just, it would worry a lot of high-profile people, So that's the situation they're in, and like I said, she's not helping her cause anything by this. And the only thing she could do to get a Hall of Fame induction is to, well, for one, stop doing all this stuff, because essentially you're attacking the company. Two, stop pulling stunts like walking into HQ and taking a picture, because I imagine that just annoyed them even further.
Yeah.
And
like, what was she even doing here?
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Or even like,
The thing is, I would have imagined that a building like WWE headquarters would actually have something a bit more in the way of like a door form of security.
I think that you can get into the lobby fairly easily, like very easily. I think because obviously there's a reception area, because it is a commercial building. You know they can't lock off everything. You know, well they can, but they shouldn't, because they want to seem friendly and everything like that. They're not like a security firm. But to actually get upstairs, then you need then you need to get past security.
Then you're after swipe cards. And
Yeah,
like that,
which obviously she didn't have. She just wanted to be there to take the picture. So it to me, I just shake my head. And
what do you reckon would have been worse if she went to walked into the lobby of Sanford, or if she was stood outside of the performance center?
Oh, then I think that would have caused a lot more of a stir, and I think she would have got a lot more of a reaction, which is probably the reason why she didn't do it.
Yeah.
I think you probably would have got the likes of, considering they got the Tough Enough guys around there at the moment, I believe, unless they have finished taping. But
well, I guess they're still there, I suppose.
yeah, I think it would be like, to be honest, here, like, even though WWE would probably look at this and be like, that's really stupid, and they probably won't care, you know. But if it was at the performance center, then it probably would get someone to remove her, and probably if it's Triple H and all the claims are as China says, you'll probably get an injunction on her or something like that, just try and
imagine this perfect situation where she's outside the performance center, like, oh, just take a picture of me and this will stick it up on Twitter or whatever, and then just like Triple H just walks out the door.
Yeah,
what
yeah.
the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, something along those lines. But hey, someone film it. I'd love to see that argument in motion. But no, to be honest, I think that WWE are just going to keep their distance with her, to be honest. And if China wants a Hall of Fame induction, then what she should do is exactly the same thing. But she's not going to get it, to be honest. She's not going to get it in her entire career. Because, she won't get it soon. And then who takes over after Vince? Is Triple H. Triple H is in no way inducting China into the Hall of Fame.
As much as they
Done.
turn around and go, oh yeah, there's no bad blood.
Yeah.
And
especially with the statements she's been saying recently. There's no way he's doing
yet
it.
again that he's an abuser. Yeah, sure.
That's it. So moving on from that particular awkwardness, and like I said, it is a shame because I would perfectly like to see her get inducted, but I want to see her get inducted without all this other stigma around her that she brought on herself, really. So that's the bottom line. Fan feedback, Matt. Fan feedback. We got a doozy of a question this week. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Adamos DeMarcos says that his question last week, this was in regards to John Cena and the child that he brought into the ring who was suffering with cancer, and it was regards to the pandering to the crowd with it. And I really liked Adamos's response to us, because while we had a differing view, it was still very respectful, and it's very easy for some people to just go, oh, but you're so fucking wrong, and why can't you see it? So I really appreciated the response from yourself. And also you stated here that it was also in regards to yourself losing someone from cancer. We're very sorry.
Personal,
Yeah, we're very sorry to hear that, and we hope that you're doing okay. I don't know whether how recent it is or anything along those lines. As me and Matt have both said, I think this was back when we did the episode during Breast Cancer Week, where we just talked about cancer in general. Both of us have had to deal with it, unfortunately. So, and you'd be hard pressed to find someone, unfortunately, that hasn't. It's a shitty thing, but and just personally to me, don't want to get too personal, but I will bring it up here as well. My grandmother, my nan, as I call her, she recently beat cancer for the second time, very recently. So that was, like the first time it was very bad, and the second time wasn't nearly as bad. She was always going to survive, but you know what I mean? It was still scary. So I understand the fear of it, and obviously, unfortunately, things didn't go their way. But yeah, it's a shitty thing along those lines. But I'm sure me and Matt, when it comes up to that time again, we'll go into more deeper about our experiences and stuff like that as well. So, his question, however, is in regards to whether WWE should start a Samoan faction on the main roster involving Samoa Joe, the Usos, Roman Reigns, Tamina, and Naomi. Now, I actually think, and this isn't contrary to what we said before, I think that's a good idea. However, I want them to be a faction, not a Samoan faction. So when I say that, I don't want the fact that they're Samoan to be highlighted. The only thing I want to be highlighted is that they're family, right? So you can have it that
They're not though.
Well, you could say, I know they're not, but you know what I mean? Some of them are, the majority of them are, if you look at it in the sense that
so
Usos, Reigns,
Usos
Naomi.
and Reigns.
Naomi by marriage and stuff like that, so...
Yeah.
You know.
But
I mean, even then, like, even though, you know, Joe and Tamina don't have the family tie, they could still stay, but it doesn't matter, you're still our family, you know, we are a family, we're a group, you know, along those lines.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But are you with me, Matt, here? That
it was quite funny listening to the Samoa Joe podcast where he's just like, I'm actually of the other Samoan name.
Yeah, like there's two names only, and you just either you're one or the other sort of thing. It's just kind of strange.
Yeah. You have ties to this one or that one.
It just sounds like a gang affiliation, you know, the Crips or the Bloods sort of thing. Yeah. So yeah, and the reason why I say that is because if you are going to turn Roman Reigns heel, then I think it's great that you put people around him. I don't think you can make this a face faction. It would have to be heel.
I don't see the Usos being heel, though.
If they're working for someone, sure. I mean, let's face it, Usos haven't done anything recently, so maybe something at very least.
One of them's injured.
Oh yeah, there is that. Yeah. Well, one thing I would say is that the whole thing about making this team is preferably to make Roman Reigns as big of a heel as he can be. And you have Samoa Joe as technically his heater. And you have the Usos as,
so
you know...
you kind of use it in the same way that WWE used the Nation to push Rock.
Yes, but in the sense that... No, I wouldn't do it in that because Farouk, that was always supposed to be like Farouk was the leader, but then The Rock was the breakout star. With this, it would have to be Roman Reigns is the leader, and he is the star, you know, and the whole point of this is to make him a bigger heel, you know. Sort of, yeah, in a way. But
I'm trying to think of other ones to compare it to.
Yeah.
In fact, Legacy is probably the only one I can really think of.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, for instance, Legacy, when you put in there, even though it was only a three-man group, it was to get Randy Orton over as a bigger heel while giving the other guys time, you know. Maybe, what's the way to look at it? You kind of look at it a little bit like Evolution in the sense that you're getting two young guys in the Usos, and they're not going to break out as single stars. But you've got, you know, the older, wiser, but yet, you know, fucking destructive guy in Samoa Joe, even though that role was filled kind of. So Samoa Joe is kind of a mix between Ric Flair and Batista, you know, in the roles that he fills. And then you've got, you know, filling the Triple H role is Roman Reigns. He's always meant to be the champion in the group. So, yeah, I would be happy with it, but like I said, you can't make this a face group. It doesn't work as a face. Nothing gets done with this being a face group. And, you know, there isn't really face factions anyway, if you look at it that way. Most factions are heels, and they start off as heels. Yeah. So if you were going to do it, you would have to make every single person in that a heel. Problem is, at the moment, obviously Samoa Joe is a big face. He will be a face for a while. Usos are face, and your gripe there, Matt, as well, is that, yeah, can you really see them being heel? You know, I don't know if they've got heel in them. You know, that is a worry if you're there. Tamina and Naomi, they're heel now. They do it fine. That's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the idea. I don't think it's horrendous. I think it was okay, but it has to be under the right circumstances. And
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. It's just there's a lot of contributing factors that would have to be in place.
Yes, you to make it work. Which is that, you know, argument can be stated that all factions are like that. You know, and you know, you at least need some sort of fuel to get everything running in the right way. But no, it's okay. But like I said, my main thing is that I don't want them to be okay. They all come out together, all heels. I don't want Michael Cole to be going, oh, the Samoan Destroyers. That's the name of this faction. Samoan. They're from Samoa. By the way, do you know they're from Samoan? Oh, look how Samoan they are. No, I barely want the word Samoa to be used.
Has to get like face paint and tattoo.
Yeah, suddenly everyone comes out.
I know most of them do. But...
All of them come out to the hacker, and they have tribal paint. I don't, you know, and they all come out, you know, with the, you know, even with a Samoan flag. No, I don't want any part of that shit. I don't want anything in regards to that. I just want them to be a group that bands together. And yeah, you know, the fact that, you know, they have that sort of Samoan descent, fair enough. But I just don't want WWE to highlight it so much that You know, because you look at Nation of Domination. Nation of Domination were the Black Pride. You know, let's look at it as it was meant to be done. It was a Black Pride faction. I don't want this to be the Samoan Pride faction, where they're, you know, along those lines. You know, that's the way I'd look at it. But whether or not it'll happen or not, no, I think that they've got different plans for Reigns, and Reigns is the guy that makes this work, because any plans like this is only to make Reigns a heel and to make him a better heel. That's the only thing.
I've heard grumblings about this, about his feud with Wyatt that will cause
the double turn or something.
The double
Yeah,
switch, yeah.
I'm not sold. And sure, if you want to turn Bray Wyatt face, I'm happy for that, because to be honest, like I said, I've said as much as I'm going to say about the man. But Reigns, I don't know. It was quite funny, isn't it? I said turn him heel after WrestleMania, you know, because he's got a legitimate gripe, you know. And it would be funny if they turn him heel now, when he's just kind of paved over the cracks of everyone booed. I haven't heard him been booed in God knows how long now. So it'd be quite funny for now they turn him heel. Yeah, back then they could have used all the heat.
Everyone's booing him.
Yeah.
Just keep him smiling. Everyone's cheering. Now to turn grumpy face.
Yeah. Is that just like fighting against like the organic sort of nature of the crowd? It's like, oh, now the crowd have accepted him. He's put in his dues. He's fought some hard matches. He hasn't won all of his matches, and you know he hasn't been made champion. But you know, okay, he's paying his time, and then suddenly he's like, okay, now we're going to turn him heel. It's just like, that's a bit crappy. But so is there anything else you want to say about the?
No.
I do like the question though, and like I said, I can see it in my head now. I'm not completely abject to the idea. I think it would be okay if done right, of course. Now and then I say that, and then I've got the fear in my head, like I said, of all of them being paraded out in Samoan gear, and less said about that the better. Moving on.
They all come out with tribal drums and
everything. Yeah, the Usos back in there, you know, with tribal drums, and you've got everyone has like, you know, the someone, you know, they even get Samoa Joe to come out with a fucking ukulele. Why the fuck not? You know, even though I know that's Hawaiian or anything, but this is WWE.
Ukuleles.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You know.
Now turn this into a joke faction.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, by the way, just before we move on, because we ain't going to be talking that much more about Samoa Joe, they still haven't changed his entrance music, and congratulations, it's the worst music in WWE at the moment. It's managed to get worse than Cesaro's. Did you watch?
Nobody sees it.
Did you watch NXT this week?
Not this week, no.
Right. So the main event was Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe, and it was quite fun. And Owens comes out, everyone's pumped up. They hear Joe's music, and he comes out, and the crowd are like, "Should we pop? I don't know." Like the music's so weird.
Joe. I mean, it's Samoa Joe, so I think we should pop.
Yeah.
No.
His music's fucking horrific. It needs to be changed. The quicker it gets changed, the better. It's that moment when you realise that generic rock music would be better, and that's not exactly great, is it really?
You've been complaining about generic rock music for a while.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite funny. You look at Daniel Bryan's first entrance music, and even he labelled his first entrance music as generic rock music. So
yeah,
there we are. The NXT report card. We will be putting on our Professor caps, and we will be talking about 2 NXT talents. Both of them, one of them went away for a while, kind of wasn't doing much, and one of them went away to the main roster, didn't do much, and then came back. We'll talk about her first. The first one is Emma, or Evil Emma, as she is eloquently been dubbed by the fans, shall we say. I said before that I think Evil Emma is hot as hell. I still stand by that. Yeah. It must be the lipstick. Must be along those lines. Something along those lines.
Or the dark makeup, either or.
Either or. I tell you what, whatever it is, fucking working. I like it. It's good. However, Emma herself is in all eventualities, is a tragic story of one mistake causing a problem for the rest of her career. I think WWE, whenever they talk about Emma, it's always in the back of their minds the shoplifting incident. And if they had it up to them, she wouldn't be with the company right now.
It'd be sort of like Emma. Oh, you mean the thief?
Yeah.
Oh. great.
Yeah, the only reason Emma is hired there is because WWE realised is that by firing her, they set a double standard for a lot of their top talent who had, you know, problems, not shoplifting, but still issues along the same lines, you know.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, like for instance, like I think around that time, and that was the time where like Jack Swagger got done for, you know, smoking weed while driving or something along those lines, and you have like some people.
He got caught with something like that, and obviously Orton had been. Not at the time, but
he's had
over the years, he's had demons.
Yeah,
They were just sort of like, meh, it's Orton. We'll hope he fixes himself, and we'll call it a day.
Yeah. And WWE realised it so quickly that they did. Emma was fired, guys. They announced her release, right? And literally, like an hour afterwards, they rehired her because they realised, oh fuck!
And
like
suddenly, all over Twitter, there was talks of the Emma-lution.
Yeah. No, I very much doubt that had anything to do with it. I think it was WWE realising. I think probably Vince. Someone went to Vince and said, "Look, this kind of makes us look really bad if you put it in perspective." And he was like, "Oh, okay, fair enough. We'll just rehire her. Isn't it? No skin off my back." So
I turn around and I find my other half who's doing the Emma dance.
Yeah,
like
that's it.
The bubbles.
do, do, do. She doesn't have that music anymore. Well, she has it at the beginning, but still. So Emma is back in NXT. It didn't work out on the main roster. I think it is mainly to do with that, and sort of the fact that she was paired up with Santino, and then Santino retired, so they kind of left her even more so in limbo.
That's it. You don't have your full guy. What are you going to do now?
Yeah. Nothing, essentially, is what they're going to do with that. But I do believe that NXT, in all fairness, with everything put in perspective, is the best place for her, especially during this character change. Because WWE...
She was backstage at Raw.
Yeah, that was a bit odd. I think she's still doing dark matches every now and then, and probably still doing jobbing matches and stuff like that. But considering she's doing a character change, she is turning heel. WWE obviously barely gave her enough time to establish her even as a big face on the main roster. So giving her time to establish she's going heel.
I think the one thing that actually kind of hindered her is the fact that it took her long enough to get over the quirky sort of, oh look, she's trying to skip the cat getting into the ring, but she fails, but it's okay because it's Emma.
Mm.
And by the time she got like that crop that had been gotten over in NXT, and they were like, it's fine, she's still good.
Yeah.
And then she's got to go onto the main roster and try and get it over again.
Yeah.
Where you've got Michael Cole, who's probably a bit more like you got, you know, Cole and JBL, who are both a bit more ruthless than the NXT team.
Yeah, and you know the fans on the main roster obviously are much more ruthless as well. But I think it's all down to WWE and how they presented her. And they didn't give her the chance, really. Let's just be honest. They didn't give Emma the chance. They never gave you say that, Matt, and you're completely right that in NXT it was like, okay, you know, she's got this quirky thing, but she's badass in the ring, you know? And it kind of, the two kind of go hand in hand. In WWE, it was just like, oh, she's this quirky girl who's kind of clumsy, but she hasn't had a good match.
Yeah.
You know? And it was like, because they never...
But watch, as she has 2 seconds to prove herself in this mixed tag match.
Do you remember the whole match they got everyone up in arms was the one that she was involved with Paige, which the Bellas beat her in like under 20 seconds. Yeah. That was the thing that started the whole, give divas a chance movement, which, you know, guys, let's be honest, look how far that's gotten now.
How's that going for them recently?
Yeah. So, let's talk about her in NXT, because I think we're kind of doing a history on Emma, and it's the report card, how she's doing at NXT. I do think being a heel works for her, and to be honest, if I were her, I would have a genuine chip on my shoulder. So being a heel, just channel what you've had happen to you, use it. And guys, we know she may not have been able to show it, but she is excellent. She's great in the ring. She could pull off a fantastic match. It's just been almost over a year since she's done it. And I do think that her being a heel, I think she plays that fine. Like I said, I like her look. I think she's gorgeous in the new look anyway. And if she does get at least a little bit of TLC, a little bit of care, I'm sure WWE will get something back from her. They just have to open up the door. I think she's willing to take it, you know. She's willing to try. I don't look at her and think of her as a person that isn't trying. You know, I firmly believe that she's given it 100%, but was just kind of sucker punched by this whole iPhone
Well,
case
I think
fiasco.
she was let down by the system.
I think that's can safely say. They couldn't look past that one incident.
Yeah.
And to be honest, part of me will say, and this may be a little bit controversial, I think that even without the incident, I don't think they were willing to give her that much of a chance. So,
well, apparently, even before the incident, Dunn wasn't a fan, and you know what that means.
but Dunn's an idiot. We all know that. I do firmly, and you know what's quite good about? There's a lot of pros and cons coming in with Triple H taking over the company eventually. One of the pros is he hates Kevin Dunn. He'll get rid of him as soon as he gets in power.
That's it. Oh, thanks, Vince. Don't mind me. I'll take good care of this place. Kevin, why are you still here?
Here's my boot. Do you want to jump out, or do you want me to connect it with your ass before so? Sort of along those lines. Let's go into our grade for Emma anyway. As she is now in NXT, I do look at her as a woman now with the heel turn, and like I said, got a chip on her shoulder. She can put off a good match, and everything she does is good. She just often doesn't have the time or someone working off her that she can really mesh with.
Yeah, but now she's actually in NXT, she can get the time.
Yeah, I'm giving Emma, and I do see this as maybe some people thinking this is a very generous. I'm giving her a B.
Okay. Do you know what? I won't argue with that.
You're going to go with a B as well?
I was looking at a B as well.
Fair enough.
Because she's solid.
Yeah.
As we've said, there's very few factors that sort of don't go in her favour. Like, she is consistent. And yeah, obviously, we talked about everything that happened on Raw, but I don't know, she's always been good, and that match that she had with Paige for, the first ever NXT Women's Champion was
I don't think it was the... Match. Oh, yeah, it was the first one, wasn't it? Yeah, you're right, yeah.
It was Paige and Emma in the final.
Yeah. And that was excellent. Oh, man,
it was an excellent match.
You and me raved about that match. We really did. We thought that was one of the best matches we saw that year. And it was. It was definitely the best women's match we saw of that time. That being said, though, I do think that, what's quite funny about the likes of Emma and Paige who've gone to the main roster and spent some time there, and they come back down to NXT, and you see the likes of Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch ripping up that division.
Yeah, and the worst part is, I'm pretty sure at one point the words have left our mouths saying, it'll be so good when they get to the main roster, they will make a difference. Yeah,
we'll look at it, you guys. Were we the first to admit that now? We said that, actually, I think in episode 2 of this podcast, where we talked about how we would change the Divas division over a year thing. And obviously WWE haven't done that, but we said Paige coming on, she could be the woman who changes it all. She could be the mold breaker. We're kind of eating our words on that now. We can safely admit these women haven't changed a thing at all. They've kind of fit. And one of the things I was saying, like I said, we love Paige here. And we are going off on a tangent, but fuck it, it's our show. We do it all the time anyway. The thing with Paige is that she marketed herself as the anti-diva. She's a diva. Yeah. As soon as she got onto that main roster, I mean, she's on Total Divas. That kind of gives you a sense of...
Yeah, I'm not a diva. Then why are you on Total Divas? No reason.
Like I said, I like Paige. Everyone knows we like Paige. Some of us know.
How did we not? We're British.
We are British, yes. We do have a bias, but I would like her anyway, even if she was American, because I do think she's different. I just think that there was a lot of potential there that she could take the division and run with it. But ultimately, we're reminded, and if one thing I've learned over doing this podcast and looking at everything analytically, doesn't matter really about these wrestlers going up. They have to have Vince's blessing to change the company.
Yeah.
It's not like it was before. You couldn't be an Austin, and Vince was so desperate that he would cling to anyone and anything at that time to win him the Monday Night Wars and put everything behind you for it. Or back in the days of the 80s, the 70s and 80s, where it wasn't the company that made the money, it was the wrestlers themselves who controlled that.
It was all down to the stars.
Yeah. It was the names on the bill that sold the show. It wasn't the name of the company that did so. So, with those wow, we went on a big tangent there, but still. Let's move on. We both gave a B to Emma there. Our second student that we're going to be evaluating in the NXT report card is Mojo Rawley. He returned after a very lengthy absence from NXT. He is now tag teaming with Zack Ryder. They're basically going into the tag team division, and they did get a win at the one of the most recent NXT shows.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 weeks ago that happened. And let me prefix what I say with this, so people don't get me wrong. I reckon Mojo is a stand-up guy, and I always get the feeling he's very genuine. Always get the feeling that he's a nice guy, probably gives it his all, really wants to succeed. I have the unfortunate statement of stating that he's not going to.
Yeah.
And that's wow, that's actually a lot more powerful of a statement than I intended. Mojo...
You dick!
Yeah, I wouldn't blame people, to be honest. Mojo, for me, and I do appreciate everything he's trying. When I look at the guy, he isn't that particularly of a great-looking guy, He's not going to be featured, as on a lot of posters or anything along those lines, which is fine. That's okay. I'm not saying there's a problem. But he also doesn't have an eye-dropping physique.
Yeah, he's generic.
Yeah, he isn't.
Yeah,
and so I'm basically going through all the things that I think could be standout qualities in a superstar. He isn't particularly athletic.
I mean, other than the fact that he's going to blow himself up when he comes out for the ring one day.
Yeah, and that will catch him out. And he hasn't particularly shown that he's that good on the mic. And I firmly believe he ain't that good in the ring. Now, that stacks up to not exactly a great list of stuff that you want to look for in a particular wrestler. And I get it, he's trying. He's got lots of energy, and he's man, like I said, I want him to succeed. Part of me wants him to succeed. But then I look at him, and I'm trying to look at him objectively. I'm trying to look at him as a guy in the back, trying to figure out, is this guy going to be any use to us? And my answer to that is, more than likely, no. Like, you look on the totem pole, where he's never going to get above his mate Zack Ryder. You look at Zack Ryder, I think he's far more marketable than Mojo Rawley is.
If anything, I think Zack Ryder's probably there to just help push Rawley.
Yeah. It's... Oh, I hate saying it. I really hate saying it. It's awkward because you need to at least have something that stands out about you, and ideally the perfect guy has all those qualities. You look at, let's say, a Finn Balor, who will be champion very, very soon. I firmly believe that. He's got a great look. He's got a great physique. He is crazy athletic, phenomenal in the ring. He's not that good on the mic, but come on, we're ticking off a lot of things here. And he has one of the best entrances in the industry at the moment, right? So when you stack that up to someone like Mojo Rawley, there's just like, wow, the scales are so fucking tipped in one direction. There's only so many spots anyway, to become a huge star in WWE. So where does Mojo fit into all of that? I don't see it happening, guys.
No, I don't find his place.
No.
I can't, it's just something's missing. As terrible as it is to say, I think Mojo Rawley sort of feels like the face job role.
Yeah. He was filling that role before he kind of went on that big hiatus.
That's it.
He either, to me, he either has to change what he's doing, because while I appreciate the effort, and it does get over with the NXT fans, but it won't get over on the main roster, he needs to change what he's doing, or he needs to make himself exemplary in some sort of format. So either he gets very, very, very good in the ring overnight, which obviously won't happen, but, hopefully gets better, or he becomes a fantastic promo, Yep. Maybe take a leaf out of Dusty Rhodes' book. Dusty Rhodes, he was fantastic in a lot of ways, but the one thing that carried him, especially made him such a huge star, was his ability to speak. So maybe Mojo should look at some of the guys that trained him and try and take some qualities from them, along those lines. To me, it doesn't look good. What's your grade for Mojo?
I'll give him a D.
I gave him a D+, and the plus is for the effort. Because he is...
The plus is for effort.
Yeah. No, it is, but like I said, man, like I said, that's why I feel so bad, because sometimes you get guys in there, and they're not really trying, or maybe don't even care as much about wrestling, and it kind of sucks, right? But they are like,
if you're going off current tough enough.
Yeah. Right?
What about what wrestling?
Yeah. What is wrestling? Why am I here? Sort of thing. No. It's like I said, I can tell he cares. I can tell he loves wrestling. I can tell that he's trying so hard. But when there's so many things missing off your resume about what they want from you, to me, I'm just wondering, where do you go? Like, what do you do? And like I said, my advice, and as little as that means, just become exemplary. For now, just at one thing. Become one thing that when we do the report card again in 6 months on Mojo, that we can say, well, you know what? There's one thing I love about him, and that's this. At the moment, we can't really say that. Even Enzo, Enzo's got he's not exactly great in the ring. His look is unique.
But does he have to be? No.
Yeah, but he's got more charisma than anyone on that roster. We can say that about him, and that holds him up, gives him a shot, gives him a chance.
I couldn't even tell you what Mojo's finish is.
Yeah. He's unfortunately, as like I said, you want to get behind the guy, but he's just forgettable. It's a shame. It really is. But hopefully, this whole thing with Ryder can work out for his benefit. But I don't see this working. I don't see it. I let's say if a list of cuts came out tomorrow and his name would be on it, I wouldn't be shocked. And that's quite sad if you look at it on that. I like to say on NXT there's like a totem pole, and if you're not at the very least 5 rungs away from the top, I would be worried. So for instance, you've got like the NXT, you could be really, really great, but if you're not like a Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Tyler Breeze, blah, 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 blah.
Top 5 of the totem pole, who would you put at that top 5?
Well, that's a bit of a question, isn't it? Let's go for the men's. Probably, obviously, Kevin Owens being champion, number 1. Balor, 2. Yeah. So even though he's not around at the moment, I would put future potential with Itami. Tyler Breeze definitely is up there. In terms of future potential, just because I do think that WWE can get great use out of him, I would put Enzo there in terms of career. He's the most charismatic guy. Yeah.
I find it funny that you are forgetting someone.
Go on, tell me. I'll probably kick myself. Go on. Oh, Sami Zayn.
You mentioned Itami, because he's not around at the moment.
Sami Zayn, yeah.
There's someone else who's not around at the moment, and he is very much in that top 5.
I do agree, but come on, how much have we seen Sami Zayn in the last God knows how long? Since he lost the belt to Owens, we've barely seen the guy at all. It's kind of a shame, really. And it's obviously not his fault. It's just injuries getting in the way. But yeah, no, I'll put Sami Zayn in there. Obviously, I believe that
Sami Zayn is a better chaser than he is a champion.
Yeah. But you make a valid point, and let's say. Yeah, that would be my total. In terms of the women, obviously their roster's a lot smaller, but this is how mine goes. You've got Banks at number 1, you've got Charlotte number 2, you've got Lynch number 3, probably Bayley number 4, and then afterwards...
It's difficult, yeah.
Yeah, and then afterwards I think it kind of tails off from there. There's a lot of people missing from there. You could say, oh, well, you've got Alexa Bliss. I think Bliss has still got a bit of work to do. I wouldn't bring her up yet. But I think those 4 people you can bring up and it would be fine. Obviously not Bayley at the moment anyway.
I don't know who would I put 5th?
I know I'm biased, but I'd probably say give Emma another crack as the heel.
Yeah, do you know what? I was just thinking, because she's got the main roster experience, probably put Emma.
Yeah, as the heel. She has to go in as a heel. She can't go back in anything else.
Right.
But, you said about that. But anyway, I tell you, any of those top 3 women is good for me, man. Like I said, Lynch, Banks, Charlotte, they're all winners. All winners to me.
Do you reckon, Cena said, there'd have to be someone to follow me sort of thing with the whole, to do the whole kids thing?
Yeah.
I don't think a Bayley could fill that void.
Only to little girls. No little boy is going to look to her and think, I want any part of that.
Yeah, fair point.
Because little boys want the superheroes to look after. Bayley fills a very specific role, and like I said, she is useful. You're not going to get a little boy who's wearing her bands and stuff like that. You just ain't gonna. And guys, that isn't me being sexist. I have 2 little girls, and I know how little boys operate. They like to play football and they like to cheer for John Cena.
Hey,
There's a reason
I still want a Bayley headband.
Oh, yeah, but come on, we're fully...
If I was in the crowd and I got a Bailey headband, I will flip my shit.
Yeah, I would, to be honest. But come on, we're fully grown men and we watch wrestling all the time, so...
Shit, we haven't grown up enough, okay?
At very most, we can say, well, she's definitely super hot, that's why we want it. Yeah, and we can act like creepoids, but really, we just want it because we're fans. And, you know, I don't know which one's sadder, to be honest, but still. Man, I'd be fucking happy to wear, like, a fucking... You know, like a Charlotte shirt, do have it all flair, anything like that. Any of the Diva stuff, I'd be happy.
So no, I actually know someone who has an I'm a Hugger shirt.
I'd wear it. I tell you what, if they've got a cheap I'm a Hugger shirt on the WWE shop, I might treat that. I might ask that for Father's Day. Get the kids to get that for me. So you can't do that. You haven't got any yet, Matt. So, oh, by the way, Matt, there is a joke involving your children, your future children, on our Raw review. Yes. In fact, I think that's a good segue. Actually, that's a good segue. So, people, you can get ready for it. That the amazing joke. Now, if I've forgotten about this and it was a joke made about, and it was a joke on a different show, then I apologise. But I'm pretty sure it's there. Should we get into our Raw review?
Okay, I'm waiting with anticipation.
With bated breath. Bated breath. So, freshly coming off the events of Money in the Bank, obviously that happened over the weekend. Brock Lesnar's dates have rolled around, so we can expect him. You know, should we say possibly on this show? He was on this show, I will say.
Very soon.
Yeah. I like to say I'm trying to tease it as if he was on the show. People watch this, they have watched Raw. Yeah, he was on the show. You know, that's the bottom line of it. So, and with him being back, guys, that means prime time's back, which hopefully means that things will pick up. You know, as Jim Ross used to say, business is about to pick up. When Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman are around, which I still state is WWE's MVP, then... No, and not MVP as in, oh, he's the new Montel Vontavious Porter. No, he's their most valuable player. Suddenly he comes out, it's just he's with the big fucking, you know, what did he used to come out with? They had the clock on his Titantron, didn't he? When on the tie, yeah. I thought he came out with a clock, and I'm thinking
Boogie
Man.
Countdown thing.
Yeah. And he comes out with a full body suit and everything like that. Yeah, the Power Ranger suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on from that shameless pay-per-view plot. This show emanated from Cleveland, Ohio.
Yep.
Brian Saxon, still on commentary. Booker is doing the rounds with Tough Enough.
Oh, do you know what? Brian Saxton annoyed me.
Yeah, he's just so sort of such the generic guy.
No,
not
even the fact that... Did you not hear him at one point complaining or telling the story of how Ambrose and Rollins were fighting with both their fingers touching the briefcase?
I must have misheard that.
Yeah, in fact, Cole picked him up, and he's just like, just making sure you were listening. It's like, oh fuck off.
I always think with Saxton, and like I said, I've always said this about Saxton. He's exactly what WWE wants, and when they realise that they don't want that, then he's fucked.
Yeah.
Because they don't want what he is, even though they've told him to be that way.
Especially considering, we need you to essentially be new Cole. But you know what? There's currently nothing wrong with old Cole.
Yes.
Michael Cole will be around for a while.
I will say, though, however, that at least there's now a black man on commentary that I can fucking understand. So that's a plus. You know,
Shucky ducky quack quack.
That was enough of Booker's stuff, to be honest. I love Booker, I really do, but Jesus Christ, some of the stuff you come out with, I could barely formulate what. There's some sort of code, I'm sure, to what Booker T is saying, and he's dropping the fucking most vicious pipe bombs.
I can only imagine that Booker lives. In Booker's mind, it looks like something out of a Dr. Seuss book.
You should try to explain it. There's no words. Yeah, one of these days they'll just do a Booker T vision for Raw, and it's literally just loads of crazy fucking shit.
It into Booker T's ear, and it pans out, and it's inside his mind, and
and of course,
fields of orange and pink.
And there's loads of women fighting each other, because that's all women do to Booker T, so there you go.
Just scratching at each other. Bitch!
Bitch! Slut! Slut! And all you can hear is just the slap. We've got into weird fucking territory here, have we not?
Weird place we're in.
We're in a very weird place right now. This show also had a performance by Machine Gun Kelly that I didn't mind, and it was only because of what happened at the end, and everyone knows what's going on.
Still fast forwarded it until what happened.
Yeah, we'll get to that soon, but man, that gives me a smile. That's good. I like that.
I was like, I know it's coming. I've heard what happens. So as a result, I don't need to watch this.
Yeah. Now, Matt, this week, it actually kind of fucking hit me pretty hard, more than I realised, that Dusty Rhodes had actually passed away. I guess a part of me hadn't really... I said that actually back then. It's kind of impossible to realise that this guy that you thought was bigger than life, larger than life, is not around anymore. Yeah. When they did the... they showed the 10 bell salute at the Money in the Bank, and they showed the video package, which I think is the best video package they've done all year.
The same one again.
Yeah. I almost sank in my seat and kind of just said to myself, I was like, fuck, he's not around. He's passed.
Yeah.
It kind of hit me a little bit, and I was like, okay. That's
It's sort of funny, odd, because you know how many like commemorative tattoos there were when like Warrior died.
Yeah.
Sort of like you wonder how many people have gone out and have now got like black and yellow like tattooed on them.
Or just got some of the Hard Times promo done or something like that. I'd be happy to get a Hard Times promo. I've given you ideas now, haven't I, Matt? You get the Hard Times stuff, yeah. And you know what? I think one of the bits that gets to me is that I think he must have done it for a maybe a video or maybe like a documentary they did about him. But there's a bit right at the end when the music's winding down.
NXT.
Yeah.
Like Happy Trails.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Oh man. In the feels right there. I was like, okay, manly tears, holding back the manly tears. It was. No, I do like that video package. It's not like it makes me feel sad. It does at some points, but it was like the reason I love that video package. It was a celebration of the man, and he did have his funeral this week for people that are that way inclined. And what I thought was really nice was that Goldust and and Cody shared their eulogies out to their fans, what they said at the funeral, even though it was a private funeral. And I tell you what, I appreciate that, because reading it kind of gave me a little bit of.
I haven't read them yet.
They're very well done, and I tell you what, of all the research that I've done, going back and looking at Dusty, I know we spoke about this in length. I mean, hell, we the whole thing of Dusty passing was last week, but I want to make a reference this week. Man, you can very rarely find someone, at least nowadays, that can say anything bad about the guy. And that's very hard in wrestling, guys, especially in his era. Where he got up and did his thing. And I know everyone makes some enemies, but especially later on, where he was more of a teacher, more of a solemn soul, even though he always was, to a certain degree. It's kind of amazing if you look at it in that sense. So, let's talk about Raw. Seth Rollins kicks off the show. He's got his title. We haven't seen him with that for the last couple of weeks. He welcomes us to Monday Night Raw, but he actually means Monday Night Rollins, and that's what he says. Yeah, but to be honest, Matt, he does get the most segments, so there is an argument to be made there that maybe.
But it is his show.
It is his show. Why not? He wants to acknowledge Dean Ambrose, saying that Ambrose brought his A game, but his A game is nowhere close to Rollins when he's on full cylinders. They show a few still shots of Rollins.
I quite liked that. I quite like the fact that it's like he's still going on like the arrogant heel, but it's like, but you know what? Fair play to the guy.
Yeah, well, even though he was being disingenuous. Even
the
then,
fact that he was being an absolute arrogant arsehole.
Yeah.
It was still just sort of like, but he fought a good fight.
Yeah. He completes his narration. He does essentially start of his thing is he's narrating. So yeah, take it for what you will. I just hate the narration. Stating that he won the belt, which was obvious because of the championship being around his waist. Rollins says that he wants to acknowledge everyone, Matt, who helped him win the championship. Are you ready for this list? Are you ready?
Yep.
So it was Seth Rollins, okay. His cousin Doogie Rollins, Seth Rollins, yep. You, Matt, Seth Rollins, myself, Seth Rollins, Thomas Miller, Mr. Miller as we call him here, Seth Rollins, Seth Rollins. JR's barbecue sauce. Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins. By the way, I can do this forever. I really could. I'm just putting everyone else out there. So, by the way, obviously all those little entrances there, obviously just added in by ourselves. And I hope that Mr. Miller, as we like to call him here on this show, liked that little entrance there. He is one of our oldest, most active fans, so we have to add him in every now and then. So, I did like that though, to be honest. The whole Seth Rollins stuff. Do you remember back when he that whole thing with him keeping Edge hostage? And I think he said the word John because John Cena came out. I think he said the word John like 50 or 60 times in a span of like 2 minutes.
Jesus, yeah.
So it was a bit strange for him to say his own name that many times in that amount of time. So he fires shots on J&J security. Kane and Steph and Tripp says he didn't need them and he doesn't care because he's that damn good. And he says that he's punched into the Hall of Fame, and his children will be named after him. Well, boo on you. Here we go. Here's the joke. You ready? Matt, you will not name you will name your child Seth, but not after Seth Rollins. It will be after Seth Green or Seth MacFarlane. That's
Do you know
what
what the worst part is?
Go on.
Only 2 days previous. By the way, I did mention, I quite like the name Seth.
Oh God, this works on so many angles right now.
But it's just a future teller, I tell you.
But it's not after Seth Rollins, of course. We can't let him have that, Matt. Can't let him have that.
I did say that we were playing a very dangerous game when picking names when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah. I feel people that named all their people Chris after Benoit and suddenly changed his name to fucking, Stevie Richards. That was really strange how that happened, but still.
Yeah, suddenly the amount of Stevies just spiked.
Yeah, isn't it strange? It's just all those kids had to change their name. It was very, very bad by WWE for to do that. By the way, it really was. Everyone knows where I'm going with that. Rollins anyway continues. By the way, if you do have a kid, Matt, and you name him Seth, then I will play this at the moment of birth. So this particular sound clip, and Rollins saying it as well. So
that's fine.
Okay, you will have to deal with that. Rollins says that Johnny Manziel or LeBron James aren't bringing any championships to Cleveland. I laughed at that, considering I'm an NBA fan. And the Cleveland Cavaliers did lose the NBA Finals over the course of this week. I would say, commiserations to Cleveland, but I don't know if we have any Cleveland fans. And to be honest, you guys knew you weren't winning that, so let's just be honest. Apply the burn cream to the NBA fans in Cleveland, because I imagine that stung just a little bit. I mean, everyone knows that Johnny Manziel fucking sucks balls in the NFL, but Matt has absolutely no idea what I'm talking about right now.
I am just nodding away.
I'll give you some insider, Matt, to make you feel as if you know something, okay? Yeah? Johnny Manziel sucks. Just say it. Just say it. Just say it.
He sucks.
Yeah, wow, man, you know so much, man.
The knowledge.
Oh, wow, that's pretty damn cool. That's cool. You're good. The heel work, by the way, from Rollins here is excellent. Really good stuff. When he stops narrating and actually gets to digging on the crowd and speaking, then it all starts working. Funny how that all works. And it sets it all up well for Dean Ambrose, who arrives. He is barely, and I mean fucking barely, selling his leg damage. He's just this fucking far away from a rant on it.
And his music here is like, here we go.
Yeah. Now he's limping, guys, but even in the match that he had to start the show, like he was still climbing the turnbuckles with relative ease. It was like, did you not just get fucking decimated last night? Oh,
No.
I said that my promise was I would go on a rant if he didn't sell it, and technically he did, so I will refrain for now on that particular subject.
Make good of your promise, damn it.
Yeah. Now, the pair end up brawling, and Seth retreats away. Dean says that he's enjoyed making Rollins' life miserable for the last few weeks, so why not stop? Why stop, sorry. Why not carry on? And he waits in the ring for Rollins to come back out, and that's essentially the opening segment. It was lengthy, it kind of didn't go anywhere, but I thought Rollins' heel work here was pretty cool. I thought it was...
Rollins was on form,
as
always.
Yeah, like I said, once he stopped narrating and once he started getting into that heel promo, then things started picking up. But unfortunately, the first 5, 6, 7 minutes of him talking about, I was in this grueling match last night. Well, expect us as fans of wrestling to have watched that match. We were there. And if you weren't, then to be honest, you talking about it ain't going to get people going back and watching it. You know, you should just carry on with what you're doing. So, yeah, that was your opening segment. The Authority, obviously Rollins, even though he's kind of back and forth with the Authority at the moment, I still count this as an Authority opening. I don't care what anyone says. So the Authority are there. Rollins then sees Triple H and Stephanie backstage and demands that something is done about Ambrose. And
where Rollins is being mean.
He pulled my hair and all this stuff. Yeah. He backtracks on what he said about Trips and stuff. He said, "Oh no, I never meant that about you," even though he did. And it was just about Kane and JJ Security. You know, they're piles of poo. Tripp says that Seth will find out his next world title contender, by the end of the night, and he sorted someone to go deal with Ambrose. So that's what happened. Sheamus comes down. He is the person to deal with certain Dean Ambrose.
Yet again, I sighed a little.
Yeah.
He's got the contract.
And it's not so much like, I hate him for winning that chair. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. It's like, it's a sort of, oh, really? So, Sheamus, as I said, comes down. He says that Ambrose is a loser and he's a winner. And then explains how cashing in a briefcase works for those people who didn't already know. And, this is the part of the match as well that we stated earlier on, that Ambrose is still jumping across turnbuckles, running across the ring. He's selling every now and then, but I would expect it to be highlighted a lot more than what it was. I'm not going to rant about it, I promise I wouldn't. So, Ambrose...
He sold it. You said that yourself.
I've got no fucking leg to stand on, you know. I know there's a joke there somehow as well, yeah. So, moving on as well, before I do start anyway, and suddenly everyone goes, you're just like as bad as WWE with your consistency. No, I'll still keep it. Ambrose looks like he's got the win. Sheamus then retreats, but Randy Orton shows up. And he throws Sheamus back into the ring. And Ambrose, he gets one shot to win this match. And what move did he use the Dirty Deeds? Fuck no, does he use the Dirty Deeds? What move does he use, Matt?
No.
The one move.
He did it.
It
happened.
It happened.
The most powerful move of all time.
It's just so amazing, the roll-up pin. Apparently it beats champions, it beats legends, and now it beats Money in the Bank winners. Yeah, you can add that to the list. So after this match, Orton...
Nobody is safe.
Yeah, nobody is safe. Nobody. Orton attacks Sheamus, which means we're getting more Orton versus Sheamus matches. Yay! Yeah, no. Just before you think that Christmas has come early, guys, no. Somewhere I'm guessing with that little chant we had, by the way, I think my sarcasm meter is just broken. Some note saying it's gone into overdrive or something like that. I'll fix it later. It'll be fine for next week. No one wants to see Orton versus Sheamus again. I think we've had our fill, to be honest, with those two matches. Matt, do you want to see these guys go at it?
No,
not even a little bit.
I am happy just to see it end.
Yeah, would you just come on? Even a little bit what you want to see it. Come on, it's Orton versus Sheamus. Surely you want to see it.
No.
Nah. Same here, to be honest. But moving on. Rollins is backstage. He bumps into J&J Security. He says, "I told you so." In terms of beating Ambrose alone, you know, they said he wouldn't be able to do it, but he did. And he's willing to rehire them back if they tell him who his new championship opponent will be. Noble says they don't know. If anyone deserves a title shot, it should be Joey Mercury, as he pinned the champion last week. He does have a legitimate reason there. You know, he did pin the champ. Joey apparently he's found his voice. He's apparently started talking again. Maybe he just had a very sore throat all those months that he just didn't say anything along those lines. He says that Rollins is afraid of him and afraid of the loss last week. And it's not a point of if Rollins loses the title, it's when. And obviously Rollins takes exception to that particular statement. I say, fuck it, you got 5 weeks, give Joe Mercury a title shot on Raw.
I accept it.
Yeah.
I'd happily watch it.
Yeah. Obviously he won't win, but give him a title shot. You know, it gives Rollins a match. You know, it kind of goes with the storyline. You can imagine the fans getting really, you know, you could do a point where everyone thinks Mercury's about to win. You know, you can almost do like the Santino thing from Elimination Chamber all those years ago, where, oh my god, he hit him with a big move. Oh my god, is he going to win? And then Rollins eventually rallies and, you know, walks out with the championship. Sort of thing. So yeah, I'd say do that. Feels a week. I'll be happy watching that, and like I said, it can invoke a very powerful crowd response. So why not? They show a fatherhood advert. Oh man, this is going to be interesting story time now, Matt. For the similarity I put in this, they show a fatherhood advert involving a male woman seeing Roman Reigns posing in a mirror, and she gets so flustered, Matt. It's quite sexual, quite. Wow, look at those muscles rippling in the mirror, Matt. It's quite something, But all he's doing is that he's playing "I'm a Little Teapot" with his little girl. So. Make of that what you will.
I remember the advert, but I don't think I don't remember seeing that on Raw.
No, it was on Raw as far as what I've seen anyway.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
Now,
I know where Wyatt referenced it.
Yeah. Now, myself and Matt have had a similar occurrence happen to us in real life, where someone mistook what was happening in a faraway window, where people naturally assumed that myself and Matt were a gay couple. Do you remember this, Matt? Rubbing essential oils, apparently, over my back, even though you were healing my tattoo that I had recently put on
tattoo,
me.
Yep.
Yeah, one of our friends, this is years ago, this is many, many years, probably about 10 years ago now. Matt was helping me, because obviously it's on my back, and I had a new tattoo, it was fucking, Blackbird, done over my back, and obviously I can't reach it. So Matt's applying, the pseudo-cream. Everyone's had a tattoo knows how that all goes about. One of our friends came up, saw me shirtless, saw Matt rubbing my back, and thought we were about to engage in some very passionate, I imagine, homosexual sex. So just remember this: when you look through people's windows, obviously, like Roman Reigns, not everything is as it seems. That's our lesson of the week for you guys. So yeah, obviously our particular instance was a little bit more sordid than Roman Reigns playing with his little girl, but yeah, that could probably make a pretty good shameless pay-per-view plot, don't you think?
I think that could work.
Pair of us being angry that this person mistook us and spreading rumours, around those lines. Even though it didn't happen, but storyline. Sorry to bring that up, by the way, Matt. Just had to, because the similarity was there. R-Truth versus King Barrett. Truth. Oh my goodness. Oh god, I'm remembering this now. Back during the bunny days, as I like to call them, there was a lot of stuff I was saying then that if I were to say to a non-fan of wrestling, I would be very ashamed of saying it and explaining what happened on the show. A moment like that happened this week.
Yeah.
It didn't anger me as much. Maybe it's because I accept it now. Well, I don't know whether that's even worse, but
that it's now such a common thing. Don't bat an eyelid at this is Raw.
It's not nearly as outraging because it's like I've seen it, half a dozen times, so it's not nearly as fresh. But Truth is now adorned in a towel, which is his cape, a crown that looks as if my 18-month-old child made it, and a plunger, which is apparently supposed to be his scepter. Now, guys, you can't see my face at the moment, one of the wonders of podcasting, but I can safely guarantee to you that I do not look impressed. Now, I'm going to make a very wild accusation here that your face also is not impressed.
It is not. No. It's very much a hanging head in shame.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm going to take an even wilder accusation and say that a huge majority of our fan base doesn't also have an impressed face. They're just looking very pensive and just wondering why they spent time watching this. So I imagine there's a few people that maybe found it funny, and fair enough, each to their own. God knows me and Matt, I said before that we get laughs and kicks out of Ready to Rumble, and every other fucking wrestling fan hates that, so I understand. But it was a little bit like, ugh, really? They're going with this? However, I will say R-Truth did make me laugh. So here we go. How did he make me laugh? He called Brian Saxon coach. That made me laugh. Because,
Yeah, that worked.
to be honest, to the lesser, more, if you would have taken someone back then, and just said, okay, watch the Raw of now, then they probably would be, they'd probably go, it kind of looks like Coach a little bit. He's bald and he's trying to be a duplicate of Cole in a sense. Even though Saxon is in no way as good as what Coach was, even though Coach wasn't that great, but he's not as good as Coach, but still. He thinks he's on commentary when he's actually in the match. I can imagine that.
How funny!
Yeah, that this. I can imagine that this idea, by the way, of apparently R-Truth being the most disorganized man in the world, came from the damaged brain cells of a certain Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and he probably was laughing his ass off. So, to each his own. He owns the show, but still, the match is over in seconds, Matt. Fucking seconds. I think one of our fans counted it in the comments and said it was 19 seconds. So that's less than what the Divas got under 30 seconds in that horrendous match that we talk about now. Yes. Seconds.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, what is the move that can beat someone in seconds? The only move that can beat someone that quickly.
I can only think it must be one thing.
One move. The one move.
The roll-up pin.
Yes, it's the most devastating move in wrestling history. Of course it is. Yeah. He gets the roll-up pin, and Truth beats Wade Barrett in 19 seconds. The power, the jobbing power, the magic, I'm going to call it the jobbing magic of the King of the Ring is starting to take full effect. And Wade Barrett at the moment would probably trade in all that shit for just anything at this point.
Just make it stop.
Make it stop, yeah. Afterwards, Barrett lays Truth out. He says that Truth is making a mockery of his kingship, and I'd say WWE's booking of him did all of that on its own. It's not really Truth that's doing that. Machine Gun Kelly is backstage, yay, with a bunch of low-card talent, and I mean quite low-card. Paige shows up saying that she's having a locker room meeting with the Divas, so she's off to go
but
sort
not
that.
in the locker room. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's in a sneaky, his secret location.
Yes. So they're setting all that up as well. Seems like that's the storyline they're going with the Divas. I guess it's better than nothing, but I'm not really that enthused.
What was Slater trying to call him? Like Shotgun Mike or something?
I don't know. To be honest, I kind of tuned out as soon as I saw Machine Gun Kelly, so...
It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Kevin Owens. Here we go. Now, to the interesting stuff. Kevin Owens comes down to the ring. Seething. He's seething, Matt. Not even his meteoric rise to stardom can break the fabled Cena wall. Owens announces that Cena isn't there tonight, and he places the blame on Cena himself because Cena forced him to powerbomb, forced Owens to powerbomb him onto the apron because of the disrespectful words Cena said to him after the match they had at Money in the Bank. Those words were that Owens you belong in the ring, you belong in the WWE. Owens says he's always known that and he doesn't need Cena to endorse him. No, he doesn't. He needs Vince McMahon to endorse him, but that's a whole topic for another day. I do think Vince is a fan, though. I will say that. I think Vince does like Owens. Obviously, we don't know, but I'm pretty sure he does. What's not to like? But to be honest, it's Vince. Owens says that the handshake Cena wanted was just for the spotlight and another sign of disrespect. And I'll defend Cena here. I wonder just how the hell Cena could respect Owens with this train of thought. There's a lot of avenues closed to the man. It's just like, how is he supposed to say it? Well, you did really well, Owens. That's an insult. You
Good stuff? No.
He's going to wave. No, that's an insult. Well, Owens is very easily insulted. So. Owens says he wants another match, this time for the United States Championship. And he says that, well, Cena isn't around to have an open challenge, so he'll have to do it instead. Well, he's quite nice if you think of that, really. He's filling and now, obviously, apparently every show needs an open challenge, so he's doing that for us. So, yeah, thank you, Kevin Owens. Ziggler answers the call. He says he's not there to defend Cena, and he never will. I thought that was a bit of an odd statement to make.
It's like, oh, okay. Survivor Series.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's why he will never defend him again, to be honest. Maybe it actually does make a lot of sense if you look at it that way, actually. Ziggler says that if there's any talk about sacrifices and hard work, he knows everything about it. He wants to win the NXT Championship. And just as they're about to do the championship intros, Owen states, sorry, did I not let you know? It was an open challenge. I never said it was for the NXT title. Loved that. That was brilliant. It was almost like you
issued an open challenge. I don't know what you're doing.
It was like you're pulling out the balloon. You know, you're pulling out the pin in the balloon and just watching it just like fucking fly off in the air. It's just like, that was hilarious. I love that. It's great. So Ziggler versus Owens, a very fun match. This one, very, very good. And I tell you what, one thing I would say about Owens, he hasn't had anything close to a mediocre match since he's got into that. Since he's got into WWE, I think the match he did that was the least was his debut match against CJ Parker. I think that's his worst match he's had. And bearing in mind, he broke his nose in that match. So every other match has been fantastic. And I'll tell you what, Matt. Wow, this is a big statement here. But he's making a big push. If he survives this Cena feud and has a great rest of the year, he's making a great case for male wrestler of the year.
Yes.
So
I completely agree with you there.
Yeah. I'd be hard pressed to think of anyone that's had such a successful year as Owens has from start to finish. It's been one hell of a year for him. So now, like I said, he has to survive the Cena feud. It may end up that he ends up having a horrific end of the year, and then obviously things will change. But Owens threw a released German suplex here, which I think was probably a nod to Brock Lesnar, because obviously it's Suplex City, you know, along those lines. He fucking threw Ziggler into the air.
Just proper launch.
Yeah.
You are going to that corner.
I will say this match was an excellent showcase for both men. Really good stuff. Owens picks up the win with the pop-up powerbomb, as you do expect, but it was the match of the night on that one. It was exceptional. Great stuff. Not as good as the matches you had with Cena, but you would expect that. It's a Raw match. You wouldn't expect it to be good as the pay-per-view.
That's it.
The Divas are backstage. Now, I've got a problem to point with the Divas here on this show. And, you know, it's part of the part of the storyline and everything. But still, let me go over what happened here. They're gossiping and taking selfies because you know women. That's all they do.
That's what they do when they're not fighting.
Yeah, exactly. They're not maybe, maybe trying to get ready for a match to be physically involved or being strong, independent women or anything like that. No. Paige says that they need to take a stand against the Bella twins. Naomi says that she doesn't want to be bossed around, while she does agree with what Paige is saying. Paige says that she's challenged the Bellas to a handicap match, as she'll end up fighting both of them anyway, which I thought was actually quite accurate, to be honest. Yeah. The Bellas show up and basically state that if you side with the Bellas, you're basically siding against the Authority. So all the Divas walk off because they're spineless and they aren't strong, independent women. Well, that's a powerful statement, but that's definitely how it's being perceived. That all those women, we can't get in trouble with the Authority. I know the men do it as well. It's just bad when they do it because they all look like pussies for it. But when all the women, it's like, we'll just. It's just a little bit like.
I quite like the whole. It's like, sort of when I helped Stephanie win. Sorry, Brie. It's okay. It was like, that was the whole reason you were even feuding at one point.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So basically, we have to come up with a new reason for when the women on the show, because I hold them to the same candle as I do the men, as we've always done this. So when the men are acting like pussies, we can't use that same sort of analogy towards the women. So they're being penises.
Yeah.
I think that makes it. I think that's an okay statement to make. So
they look like dicks.
They look like a bunch of dicks. That's what they did. So that's unfortunate. I know it's not. I'm not really digging on it that bad. I just think it's quite funny that there's kind of a storyline that the women won't come and band together. It's just the way that they're kind of portrayed on TV. I don't like it. I don't like it. Hell, would you? I would not. I would like the likes of the NXT girls to be, if something along the lines was happening and they wanted to cause the banding around, they would be like, well, we're not going to work with you, but we agree, and I'll do it on my own terms. I'll fight them because I'm badass and I don't give a shit. You know,
Is this where we get like female Nexus.
I would love female Nexus. Come on, that'd be awesome. I tell you what, actually, probably no, maybe not. I don't know. We'll get into that. Orton versus Kane. Orton's opponents aren't exactly inspired, I would say.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I didn't care.
Yeah. And to be honest, the match is incredibly ordinary. Sheamus comes down. Kane decides that the match will now be a no-holds-barred match, which leads to Sheamus bro-kicking Orton and Kane winning the match.
Yeah.
Which
It's no holds barred. Just because I can't be bothered.
Yeah. Essentially. I would argue with, why doesn't he just do that in every single match he's in? Why didn't he do that at the Money in the Bank match? Oh, well, now it's a nobody can grab the briefcase but Kane match. I win.
That's it. Done.
That's best for business. It just seems, it's just quite funny. Look on there. Just do it every match. Do it every match. Just make it a you can't pin Kane match. And you win. There you go. Either that or you get beaten to shit and then the match never ends. But still. Kane then goes backstage. He's talking to Rollins, who reminds him that he lost at Money in the Bank. Like I said, narrating, even though we don't need to know that. But he does take a lot of pride out of that, being that Kane was his biggest doubter. Kane reminds him what a real champion wins match after match after match. Calls him an idiot and says no one can do that on their own. Just ask John Cena. He's had Vince on his side for a decade. That's the way he got, to all that. There's a lot of Vince digs in this show.
You gonna help me?
Yeah.
Oh my god, help!
Yeah. There's a lot of Vince digs. I think it's maybe just bugging on me a lot that a lot of people are giving a lot of shit to wrestlers at the moment, and it's kind of like diverted away from the fact that Vince is the puppet master. Any sort of criticism should be levied towards him, unless it's something along the lines of he's told them to do a role and they can't do it. Then it's their fault, but still. Rollins brings up Kane's family, and apparently it's enough for Kane to just freak out. He just snaps and tells him, I will eviscerate you if you ever speak about my brother and on my family again. Doesn't really stop Rollins, though he's still pissed. I kind of grown a bit old of the whole Rollins and Kane back and forth, and to be honest, that sort of thought track hasn't exactly changed much over time. It's not like the absence of, and there hasn't been much of it, an absence of a Rollins and Kane argument has made me pander for it anymore. I'm kind of done with it, so. Big Show versus Miz. Ryback is on commentary, but he's not nearly as fun as he used to be, but he's alright. It's okay. In terms of management, I guess he's better off not making all the inside quips and making himself laugh like he did, when he was a heel, essentially, on commentary. Big Show fakes a knee injury to lure Miz out for battering, as our resident Hollywood star didn't want any part of the Big Show. I don't really blame him. Show throws Miz into Ryback, so the two square off. This leads to Miz counting out Big Show for the win. He gets the win via count out. Then Miz goes on to celebrate like he just won another WWE Championship. He was like, yeah! He's going mental, losing his shit.
Oh my god, I did it!
Yeah.
It's like, too much.
I would say, why not celebrate like that? Because it's not as if he's ever going to win the WWE title again, so you may as well celebrate like that. Yeah. So you may as well just go bonkers. Why not? Do a Seth Rollins meltdown moment where you realise you've retained your belt and fucking he malfunctions as a fucking android. Oh, that's still the best. That's still the best cover I've ever done on this show. That's special. That's special right there. Roman Reigns comes out. It says he didn't have a good night and he's pissed off.
It's basically, I didn't get my sleep.
Yeah, essentially. He wants to fight Bray Wyatt tonight, but Roman, we need 5 weeks of cryptic messages that...
No, you wait.
Yeah, you wait. You must have cryptic messages first. We need lots of messages to explain just what the fuck Wyatt wants, and often we probably won't even find out what that is. Maybe, as Wyatt says, we lack the capacity to understand his reasoning, which he states is what Roman Reigns is the same of. Wyatt says Roman stole his opportunity, and I would argue with the way he's on TV is like, man, if you can't beat a guy who's fought 2 matches and you've got distractions helping you, then maybe I think your card of, oh, you stole my situation kind of goes out the window at that point. You had a pretty decent opportunity, you just lost. So that's how it's perceived to the audience anyway. So And yeah, one of the problems with this rivalry, Matt.
Like, why am I doing it? Because I'm having a tantrum.
Yeah. But he says like, he's going to destroy Reigns, and then he shows a picture of Reigns' daughter from that commercial earlier on in the night. My argument to this is, we saw Roman beat Wyatt a couple of weeks ago with all those odds stacked against him. So who in their right mind thinks that Wyatt's going to have even a remote chance of beating Roman Reigns? And if he does, that pisses in the wind of their consistency so badly. So... Oh, no.
Because it's their logic.
Because am I making?
Because it is.
Is it Vinny Mac's going to shut down our show now? He says, I don't like it anymore. Shut him down. Buy him out. He did try and buy us out, of course. If you listen to our April Fool's joke, of course. Yeah, like if I were Reigns' daughter, I wouldn't be scared. It's not as if anything Wyatt says holds water. You know, I feel horrible for saying that, but come on, it's kind of true. The guy speaks a lot of nonsensical dribble, which I used to love, that I used to really enjoy listening to, but the more and more that it became inconsequential, the less I cared, and now I don't give a shit. And now it's along the lines of, we're supposed to buy into a rivalry, yet that match from a couple of weeks ago just sticks in my mind. So that's my thoughts on the Wyatt and Reigns sort of rivalry. I'm not as... Like I said, I'm not as interested in the Wyatt rivalries, and, you know, that is part of the reason... that's WWE's fault, the bottom line of it there.
Yeah.
To be the bottom line of it. Is there anything else really you want to say about Reigns' particular promo? Or
No, it's just... I guess they're kind of going on that whole, we were saying, like, all he needs to do is just come out and just be, I'm here to kick ass, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially, yeah. But
he's sort of doing it, but, yeah.
I like so with Wyatt. I've kind of spoken in length about Wyatt. He needs to have more consequence to his actions, and he needs to do what he says. For people to really believe in what he has to say. He's just very wayward. That's the problem with it. Moving on, Paige goes against the Bellas in a handicap match. I didn't state this at Money in the Bank, but I do love her new ring gear. I think it's brilliant. It's got like the bullets adorned over it, and they've got the pentagram on the back and stuff like that. I do like her new ring gear. It's quite nice. This match is okay. The Bellas control it until they bang into each other. Paige takes advantage, hits the rampage, but then the numbers kind of catch up on her, and then
it happens.
Yeah. Nikki wins with the kind of bionic elbow and then the rack attack, and I think they're going along the lines of, she had a tag team partner, she definitely would have won. And I know eventually she'll have people come to her and aid. It's just, I don't know, I'm kind of done with it, to be honest. Machine Gun Kelly is out, which is great. It is actually quite great, because it means that I got to skip some of the show this week. So that's really good for me. He does his performance, don't know what happened in the middle of it because I didn't watch it. But at the end, Kevin Owens comes out, of all people. He wants to congratulate, he's clapping Machine Gun Kelly on his performance. But as Kelly goes and offers his hand to shake it, oh dear, he wasn't listening to Owens' promo earlier on in the night. Owens takes that as disrespectful.
Don't be disrespectful, you little prick.
That's it. And then he does what we've all wanted to do, really, upon hearing that he was going to be performing on this show. He kicks Machine Gun Kelly, which you think, wow, that's amazing, man, that's really awesome. And then he power bombs the man off of the stage. Yeah, that happened. Kevin Owens, you win our Hero of the Week award. Congratulations. You win everything. You have a permanent spot on our show whenever you deem fit to take it. You can have it here on the show for doing a public service of removing Kelly in such fashion. And I did go back and just watch the moment of him, even though the commentary are like, "Oh my goodness, he's deplorable, he's disgusting," and I'm like, "No, that was amazing. Let him do it again. Get Kelly to come back out. And
let's get replays.
Let's get him to do it on the.
Let's get him to attack all of Let's get him to attack like Machine Gun Kelly's like entourage or something.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, bring Kelly back out because maybe he thinks he's a rock star and he can deal with being powerbombed on stage, and then you get Owens to powerbomb him on the apron. It'd be great. Everyone will have fun with it. It'd be awesome. Be great fun. It is quite funny how that WWE obviously don't know their main audience, because I naturally assume that the majority of people were quite happy to see Kelly get powerbombed off of that stage, but yet commentary like, "Oh my goodness, I'm sure you all agree this is horrible," and it's like, no, it's quite fine. We're okay with this, to be honest. Neville and Primetime Players go against the New Day. This is the main event, by the way. This match, however, is quite quick, but I thought it was quite fun. They managed to fill in their time quite well. Everyone got their moment. Neville hits the red arrow, gets the win. The red arrow, I will say that properly, not arrow. I'm not fucking... What's the guy who makes the... pronounces all the words incorrectly? Oh, whoa, whoa. I don't know. You've got nothing to add to that, no?
I've got nothing at all.
Coming up blank. Yeah, someone...
Yeah.
So, yeah, a quick match. It was fun, though. And it's good to see PTP with those belts, because we are big fans of the Primetime Players. So
It was a solid.
It was solid. It was alright. It did its job.
It did its perp. It did its job. Look, Kofi's injured. And look, they're a bit upset, but they're not, because they're still positive.
Yeah, Primetime Players. Yeah, sort of that sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just kind of like, it was a good exhibition. Nothing else much. But it was kind of random how Neville was involved. I guess, probably because he got very intimate with Kofi when he got
I guess that's the only reason. I was just sort of like, why is Neville coming out? I was like, I kind of understood, like, the following is a 6-man tag match. Right, okay. So I'm guessing it's the Primetime Players, but Neville, okay.
Remember, it's Neville that came back to
Neville.
Neville. Moving on. Before we ruin more, I've ruined enough wrestlers, by the way, for people on this show.
Hello!
Yeah. Do you need a tissue, Matt? Do you need to clean up?
Might need a clean up.
All right. Ambrose is backstage. He's throwing darts at a picture of Rollins, of course. He bumps into Kane, and Ambrose thinks it's funny to think of Kane as a world champion. Because while he was champion, that was the Hellfire and Brimstone Kane, and obviously now we have Candy Kane, which is essentially what we have now. Ambrose says he needs the championship. He's had a taste of it, and he'll never stop until he gets it again. Even though he never had it before, but I get what you're saying. I tell you what, I would love a slow build now for them to have a long plan and a date when Ambrose is going to win that title and slowly build him up to win the title legitimately. I think he's
sort of like, right, now it's time.
Yeah. Because obviously now things are going to get busy over the next couple of months because Lesnar. And it would be wrong to put Lesnar out of the main event picture. So, yeah, slowly build up Ambrose. I think he's proved that he can fill that role and he can have main event caliber matches. I don't think there's much more the guy can do to prove to you that he's a top main event level star. So, that's just the bottom line of it all, really. Moving on to the final segment of the night, which is revealing Seth Rollins' new WWE World Championship contender. Stephanie and Triple H come down to the ring. They apologise for Owen's actions earlier. No need to apologise, guys. It was really fun. I almost masturbated to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's
just like, and you know, actions will be taken against it. Oh, but why?
Actions will be taken against it. As in, we're going to bring Kelly back so Owens can do it again.
Yay!
Yeah. I would honestly just be happy watching 3 hours of Kevin Owens just picking up Kelly onto the stage, powerbomb him, pick him back up, powerbomb him.
Especially just watching him oversell the kick to the stomach.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like, no, come back. Look, how am I meant to powerbomb off this thing?
I would pay good cash money to have all the superstars line up, and they all get to do their finishing move off of the stage to Kelly. And then every second person is a slot reserved for Lesnar. So Lesnar gets to go again. And then 2 slots, Lesnar again. 2 slots, Lesnar again.
Okay, yeah.
And just have that for 3 hours. Man, I would pay good money. And then maybe
I don't know how Les would do an F5 off the thing.
Oh, he would find a way. He could fucking just throw. I mean, the guy's fucking weighs nothing.
It could just be a German. I'll be happy if it's just a release German.
It's just a release German. That's fine with me. And then once, Machine Gun Kelly is grounded into dust over the eventual damage, just bring other celebrities like Justin Bieber. Bring him in. That's fine. I'd pay good money.
All the previous guests of which we've hated.
Yeah, exactly. Just do that. That's fine. But not Betty White, because we like Betty White.
Betty White can live.
Betty White can. She can survive, apparently, this execution line that we've managed to set up. Moving on from that shameless pay-per-view plot. Triple H says that the contender won't be J&J Security, Kane, or Dean Ambrose. Upon hearing that, boo. Rollins comes out. No, Seth, you won't be challenging yourself. Don't be silly.
Yeah.
You're not a clone like Ambrose.
I love how it's just like, oh, it doesn't matter anymore. If it's not any of those guys, I'll just beat anyone. So, fuck it, here I am. Who is it?
I would say that Seth is the best person to set him up for the oh fuck look. I've
never been interested to see what it looks like when a grown man pisses himself. But I think I've now seen it.
That's the face, yeah. Because they end up basically what they state here before they do reveal the man who gave Rollins that particular look is that they state that Stephanie says that Rollins still has to prove something because they've tested their patience. And Triple H says, well, now it's time to wonder if the investment in Rollins is going to pay off, if like a lump of coal, if it's just going to crumble away or turn into a diamond. He's going to find out. And the only way you can do that is by putting on the pressure. And the man that puts on that pressure is Brock fucking Lesnar.
Yeah.
So Brock Lesnar comes down, the fans pop, I pop, Matt popped, and
everybody pop.
Guess who's beside him? The MVP, Paul Heyman himself. Oh, I wished he had taken the mic and ended the show with a fucking humdinger of a promo. But
no, the thing is, like, I wish that would have been the case, but I don't think they could have ended it any better. It's just like facing up, and there's Rollins just like one step back, Lesnar one step forward.
Yeah, I think you're quite right.
Back away, close the gap. Back away, close the gap. But it's essentially, you're in my ring.
That's just me being greedy, though. You know, I just want Paul Heyman segments. That's all I want. But no, I agree with you.
Next week, the only problem is I can probably imagine it's going to be Rollins going, why does it have to be Lesnar?
Yeah, like, or no, he's probably going to go along the other lines of I can beat Lesnar, and then as soon as Lesnar comes out, he just kind of
either or
pulls that face.
I don't think it's going to be Heyman opening.
No.
Oh, if it is Heyman opening.
But guys, Heyman will have promos this month. That is a really cool quite a cool thing to think about going forward, because he will out promo everyone. He's proved he can, and he will again. So
that's it.
So that's how it ends.
Talk on a mic. Okay, Heyman.
Brock Lesnar obviously screwing up to Rollins, as you said there, Matt. Rollins kind of retreats. Well, doesn't want any part of the Beast Incarnate.
It's just like one step back, close the gap. One step back, close the gap.
Yeah.
It's just such a great. It's like it doesn't even do anything. Just looks at him, just like get out.
To be honest, I mean, I'm not even as physically imposing as a Seth Rollins, but if I saw Brock Lesnar, I probably would scurry away. You know, there's no shame in that. It's Brock Lesnar, so.
It's like I've now seen a grown man piss his pants and flee in terror.
It did look as if the words "oh fuck" just instantly emerged onto Rollins' face, just like "oh fuck biscuits." So
bum. Shit.
It's shit, yeah. Which is great. And that's how the show ends, with Brock Lesnar standing triumphant in the ring. And obviously Paul Heyman just grinning from ear to ear as the Cheshire Cat, as he likes to do on that occasion. So all in all, this show, it's okay. It's some moments that
it's solid.
It's solid. It's definitely not as bad as the last 2 weeks. It's okay. It holds up. Lesnar being around is also quite interesting, but his interaction here was quite fleeting. Quite limited, but it's worth a watch. I wouldn't go back and rewatch it, but it is worth a watch this week.
I think match of the night probably would have to go to Owens.
Ziggler, yeah,
easily.
And man, he's getting a lot of them recently.
Owens, match of the night, Owens. What a shock!
Yeah, wow. So yeah, if you want our thoughts on whether or not you should look into this show, then I say give it a watch. It's worth one watch, nothing more. But
it wasn't one of those episodes of why do I watch this?
Oh yeah. Which the last 2 weeks, like last week was just cripplingly boring. It just really was just a bore from start to finish. So yeah. Now that's the show. Well,
yeah, that's it.
We've gone through the show this week. Now, in the middle of doing this performance, you've probably already seen a message there put into the video as well. I noticed that because we recorded this in 2 batches, that the audio in the first chunk is a little bit off. We do apologise. We're having a little bit of problems with our audio recently. I will try and get it fixed. So I do apologise if it hasn't been, the audio quality hasn't been as good.
And then fortunately my signal cut
and then your signal cut out, yeah.
And my internet cut out, so we finally realised we had this issue.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just because we've been changing a few things with the audio setup, and until that kind of settles down, then stuff like this will happen. We do apologise, obviously. However, though, if you did enjoy the show, then like I said, Thanks a lot for watching. If you're a new subscriber, then hit that subscribe button. You can be part of one of our 300 subscribers, which will be coming up soon. You can also leave us a comment. You've got plenty of time to do it from when this is aired. You can do it on wherever you left it as well, and we will answer it on the show next week. You can also tweet us at TalkWrestlePod. I think it is. Is it?
That's the one.
Man, I've asked that so many times. I just can never remember.
That old mind of yours.
Yeah, that's it. And like I said, if you want to share it with your friends and support the show, that would be fantastic. You can also leave a like on the video there as well. But apart from that, I think I'm all plugged out. Is there
that's it.
Any plugs I missed? No. That's episode 80 of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Thank you guys for tuning into the show, and we'll catch you all next week.
We'll see you soon.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Bye.